Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of four-time champion sire Schnitzel.
At 10 million, take 500 more, at 10 million.
Hello, I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to a new week of Bred to Win as the spring of 2024 edges ever closer. We're here at the Warwick Farm stables of Paul and Martha Cave, and in coming weeks we'll feature Gemma Still, a graduate of the fantastic Silverdale Academy, as we look at the issue of training up new staff for the Australian racing and breeding industry. Coming up on this week's show, we look at a tough and high-class sprinting son of Exceed and Excel, Signore Fox, with a new home for the new season at Almavale Thoroughbreds. Bowness Stud, son of So You Think Dento, with his early runners already making their mark and things just about to get even better. And leading trainer Peter Snowden and the people who taught him the best lessons in the racing industry in Arrowfield Stud's industry influences. First though, plenty of bloodstock happenings in our Aushorse news. It was a quiet stakes racing weekend around Australia with two standout performances in the build-up to spring.
Hardy Glamour late, Schwarz begging for the post, found it.
The Group 2 Missile Stakes at Randwick was won in tenacious fashion by the handsome son of Zoo star Schwarz, a first group success for John O'Shea's new co-trainer Tom Charlton. Named in the Rosemont Victorian Alliance formula after former Melbourne Demons Aussie rule star David Schwarz, the colts from Angus Armanasco Stakes winner Summer Sham, with the colt's fourth dam, the incredible breed shaper and dam of Redout's choice, Shantha's Choice. He was a $1.25 million Magic Millions yearling sold by Widden Stud to the Rosemont Victoria Alliance, Suman Hedge and David Redvers. Schwartz's younger brother featured in our Inglis Easter preview this year at Widden Stud and sold for $1.55 million to Newgate, China Horse Club, Go Bloodstock and Trilogy, while the year-older sister was sold to Cambridge Stud for $800,000 in 2023 and has been named Silver Wedding. Zoo Star, a son of the late Northern Meteor, equalised I Am Invincible's record of 208 individual winners in the season just gone, finishing as runner-up champion Australian sire, and he'll be a highlight for many of his fans at the upcoming Widden Stud Open Days.
See You in Heaven ran to the lead inside the 75.
The other particularly impressive stakes winner was the Divine Prophet mare See You in Heaven, taking out back-to-back behemoth stakes at Morfettville in Adelaide. Formerly a great carnival intro as the Spring Stakes, it's been won by many subsequent Eastern States Group winners. Trained by Richard and Chantel Jolly, See You in Heaven has now won 5 group races, having been a $90,000 Magic Millions buy from the draft of Alexia Fraser. Caulfield Guineas winning sire Divine Prophet formerly stood at Aquas but now resides at New Zealand's Highview Stud, standing at a fee of $9,000 NZ plus GST as a full brother to champion New Zealand sire Poisier. The English Digital Graduate of the Week is Randwick winner West of Africa for the new training partnership of Annabelle Neesham and Rob Archibald. The eye-catching 5-year-old is by the late Not a Single Doubt from high-class Sebring mare Serena Bay. He was sold at the early August 2023 English Digital sale for $145,000 to Annabelle Neesham, and since then has won 3 times through June, July and August, racing in the OTI ownership group.
Deep in the closing stages, and it's Babush in front from Whistle Jacket.
One of the top 2-year-old races of the year in Europe, Ireland's Group 1 Phoenix Stakes went to the Juddmonte farm-bred Babush, beating home the Coolmore team's No Nay Never colt Whistle Jacket. The filly is by Danehill's son Kodiak, sire of Cambridge Stud's star sprinter Hello Youmzane. And champion New Zealand filly and Vinery Stud Stakes winner Prowess has been sold through Gavel House for $1.45 million. Another of the last few seasons' star mares to be added to the illustrious broodmare band at Victoria's Yulong Farm. Exceed and Excel has been a great influence on the thoroughbred breed, both in Australia and overseas, and his sire sons are continuing that legacy, both the proven ones and those who are just emerging. Owner Joe Stampy is confident Signore Fox will add to that list, and when you see his outstanding race record and sensational physique, you'll understand why. Oscar, it's an exciting time for Almavale Thoroughbreds. Of course, Vernon Metcalf, yourself, great team of people there. Of course, the stallions are based at Kitchwin Hills, but Almavale is kind of a reinvention, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really exciting times. We've acquired a lovely group of mares at the sales recently, and we're going to have Facile back in work soon, actually here at Snowden Stable, so there's a lot to look forward to this spring.
Well, as you say, here at the Snowden Racing Stable, and Pete Snowden trained this horse, Signore Fox, that we're profiling today, a racehorse who earned $1 million. You know, he's such a special horse to win 4 stakes races.
He's a very special horse. I think the fact that he actually had 42 starts and raced on is a huge, huge positive. For a horse to be that sound and turn up every Saturday, being a group performer week in, week out, I think that says a lot about the horse.
And it's pretty rare, a 9-year-old now, having his first season at stud at a commercial farm. He covered a number of mares last season on retirement from racing, but he is that older horse. And again, he's really let down into a beautiful sort of a, you know, literally a bull of a stallion.
He is really let down into a lovely horse. I think people would be very impressed when they come and see him. At that value service fee price, I think why not roll the dice on him? He's got the perfect profile. His pedigree is obviously speaks for itself. There's Group 1 winners right down the page, and he's very, very unlucky not to be one himself.
But Senor Fox has raced up and gone to the lead.
Well, looking at his racing performance, he went through his grades as a 3-year-old with a number of wins. His first stakes win was in 2019 at Eagle Farm in the Daybreak Lover. Then that summer he took out the Razor Sharp Stakes at Randwick, came back the middle of 2020 to win the hugely competitive Ramornie at Grafton. I mean, these are all really tough races, and I guess his racing style, when things worked, he could show that electric turn of foot.
Obviously he was very precocious of the races you've just listed off, but obviously the way he did race, he got back and he had to ride for a bit of luck sometimes, but that turn of foot, if you look up those sectionals, they're up there with some of the best sprinters in the land.
He won the Group 3 Star Kingdom Stakes, and a lot of stallions succeed having won group races but not quite getting that Group 1, don't they?
Yeah, well, he's very similar profile to a horse like I'm Invincible. A Group 3 winner who's Group 1 performed, another horse who's obviously started at a very modest service fee and gone and really taken over the breeding world.
And you have to remember, as you say, you know, he was Group 1 class. He was beaten less than a length by Vega 1 in the Kingsford Smith Stakes and by Tofane in the Stradbroke. So, without a doubt, he really should have been a Group 1 winner.
They are 2 very, very good horses. I think, can't remember what Tofane made, but it was a couple of $1 million as a broodmare. She was a top-class sprinter and he only just missed her, so as you say, he was a Group 1 horse every day of the week.
So racing against Eduardo, you know, Palele, all those horses, so close to them, you know, they're the best sprinters in the world.
It's very, very hard to do. For him to race on 42 starts is a lot for any horse, let alone a colt, but it's very, very hard to do.
Probably my fondest memory of him was when we got him. He's a magnificent type. Real athlete, great attitude, had a colt presence about him, but a really good nature about him. So we liked him from day one, and no, he had a great racing life too. Very honest, very genuine, never ever on a bad race.
He was a real racehorse. You know, he wanted to win. He, you know, had the issue he'd get back in his races, so obviously needed luck. But when he got through, he had that turn of foot, but he'd pin the ears back. It looks like he enjoyed his racing.
And J Mac had a good rapport with him. I think he rode him 6 times and won 5 out of 6. But he said he had a lethal turn of foot on good ground. He said he would win anywhere, and that's why he stuck with him as long as he did.
Yeah, and a horse like that races over, you know, a 4-year period. He won 4 stakes races. He's a group winner. Those sorts of horses, you know, when they retire to stud, they tend to throw that toughness into their stock too.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he doesn't, because he's such an athlete. He was very, very strong, a big, powerful hindquarter. As I said, they're good temperaments, a big plus as well, going into his progeny. But the consistency too, that's a big thing, and he was always that.
And mare owners, you know, we're talking about a breed to race type horse, a $5,000 service fee. What would you say to them about giving this horse a go? Because it's tough at the top end of the commercial sphere, but you can still breed a really good racehorse for that.
I could rattle off 20 horses started for $5 grand. One of them was Commands. He started off with Do Your Best, anything. And Costa de Lago, he was the same. There's a lot of horses start off small, and this horse could be just that horse. He's got a good pedigree, as I said. The Seeding Cell Colt, multiple winners, multiple stakes winner. A lot going for him. Group 1 placed, so there's a lot of upside with him, and for not much outlay now, I'd be jumping in now.
And so what is he like as a stallion? I mean, as we said, he's physically a real sort of a bull. He has all that lovely power and presence, but he is a real speed horse, isn't he?
He's a lot like Exceed and Excel himself. I think he'll throw that into his stock, those early running looking horses. People that come and see him will be very impressed when he walks out of the box.
And we know Exceed and Excel, his sire sons, you know, including Sidestep, Headwater. Exceedance is on the cusp of being a really top stallion. And then, of course, Bivouac, Cylinder, Microphone, you know, just as young sires starting out. And so you can see this sire line is bound to have a huge influence on the breed.
Definitely, and he's probably the cheapest son of Exceed and Excel at stud. He's definitely a really good play for breeders at that level.
And the dam side, of course, Susannah, a South African Horse of the Year, is his half-sister. And it's such a strong dam line, which is so important, isn't it?
There's group winners right down the page, and as we've seen from a lot of these very successful colonial stallions in Australia, they always have that strong dam line. He's a big, strong horse, and I think he'll suit those mares that maybe you want to put a bit more leg under them and a bit more size and substance. That'll suit him really well.
And Joe Stampy, his owner, I mean, he loves this horse. And you can see, you know, when you have a horse that races at that level for so long, it's a real passion for him, this horse succeeding at stud.
Yeah, Joe's a very passionate man, and like you said, he loves the horse. He's sent every mare he owns to him. So he's got a real belief in this horse that he's going to make it at stud. We can't wait for the spring to unfold, Caroline. Werner and myself and the team, there's a lot to look forward to. We're going to have horses racing in silks and foals hitting the ground, and obviously a number of mares we've purchased will be having their first babies as well, so there's a lot to look forward to.
Just an outstanding horse, and good luck to Joe Stampy and the Almavale team for Signore Fox this coming season. Coming up after the break on Bred to Win, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week, and the gallant and gorgeous grey son of So You Think, Dento at Bowness Stud. This week's Cambridge Stud Focus is on the first glimpse for Australasian breeders of exciting new son of Frankel, Chaldean, on New Zealand soil.
Welcome to the foggy Waikato.
Every time you bring in a new stallion, there is an air of excitement about that particular horse. It's the same as Halayumzane and Almanzor 6 years ago. There was a slightly different side to this horse. The fact that he's owned by Juddmonte Farms in the UK, arguably the most successful breeders on the global stage, is very exciting for us and for New Zealand to have that partnership for the next 5 years. But also the fact that he is almost unique in being a dual Group 1 winning son of a world champion sire, Frankel.
Good morning.
How are you? All right. I think it's the most important thing we've done. It's great to have a beautiful horse like this to show New Zealand breeders and the few Australians who've decided to come on board. Hopefully there'll be more. It's such a strong pedigree. It's got speed, it's got Frankel, the most successful stallion in the world at the moment. The classic European thoroughbred. This horse, you could see that he'll get speed into his mares, combining the best of both, really. Well, the plan is that we'll have a pretty cruisy 4 weeks before we get cracking on the 1st of September. Winter sun is very important for stallions going into the season, so every available sunlight hour he will be out in his paddock. The paddock is a very important place for a stallion that's getting ready for a really busy time, not just in terms of covering but parades as well, so the more time he has out there with his head down, chilling out, the better. So after today he'll have one parade tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, first parade, and then he's going to have a break for 4 days, and then we get going in earnest next week.
When a stallion is considered one of the best progeny of a great horse such as So You Think, who was twice runner-up champion Australian sire and third in the most recent sires list for the season just finished, you know that stallion is bound for success. Dento is that horse, a Rosehill Guineas winner and prolific Group 1 competitor. He had 13 two-year-old runners for 4 winners in his first crop, and as they turn 3, we know there are plenty of expectations ahead for their classic season. James, it's a bit of a blowy old day up here, but what a magnificent property, and it is so exciting to see this gorgeous son of So You Think in Dento. He's like a silver Brumby. He's gleaming in the middle of winter.
Yes, no, nice to see you, Caroline, and he's really put on some weight now and let down beautifully, and yeah, he's enjoying his off time, and it's nearly time to get back into it for him.
Yeah, and it's been so wonderful to see what he's done already as a stallion with, 3 horses coming out winning on debut. We'll talk a little bit more about them shortly, but tell us about your management of him. I mean, I'm quite intrigued. He has his gelding mate in there and they're the best of mates.
Yes, it's just nice to keep him relaxed as we can in the off-season, and he can just be a horse and not have to have the stresses of stable life or anything. And the gelding just seems to be a nice compliment, compliments him out in the paddock. He knows he's there. He doesn't always stay with him, but he just a little security blanket.
Well, he's got quite the personality, doesn't he? I mean, this whole sire line through Sadler's Wells, High Chaparral, So You Think, into Dento, and he was such a popular racehorse with Star Thoroughbreds, and he's a sort of horse that, as a stallion, you can see the personality.
Oh, absolutely. They're all big kids, the stallions, I find, and he's a really lovely horse to handle, but he's also got that energetic side, and he's great. He's been very good to deal with. And
it's a really historic stud, isn't it? John and his family, and Joss, your wife, and yourself now, and kids. It's a generational property that's, bred some wonderful horses over the years in this area, sort of southwestern New South Wales near Young.
Yes, it's been going for a long time now, and John's done an amazing job setting the foundations for Bowness and been teaching Joss and I the straps. It's been probably 20 years where I've been working with John now, and it's hard to believe how quickly it's gone, but the way it's all travelled through, and John's now taking a bit of a step back,
still
and
has his own mare,
he's still enjoying the horses. It's great to be able to carry on with that foundation that's been set.
Dento adds to some great stallions you've had over the years, and he was a ripper. He won twice at 2. The Rosehill Guineas was just such an exciting win for Denise and the star team. 4th in a Doncaster, another great run, and then the big races, 2nd in an Epsom to Hartnell by a whisker, 3rd in the Wink Stakes, 2 Winks, the great Winks herself. And he is the sort of horse that you need to be reminded of that turn of foot, particularly late in those races.
Oh, he was a phenomenal horse, and he raced against some of the best horses that we've seen ever. It is something you have to remind yourself of when you're even dealing with him day to day, but now seeing it coming through in his progeny, it's something you have to think about, and we're very lucky to have him.
Elegant to Empress the outside, and Rag Queen through the centre.
When you look at what he's done, as I said, those first start winners, 3 of them already. Considering he's a Rosehill Guineas, he's more of a, you would expect being by the great So You Think, more of a middle distance sort of sire. But already, Rag Queen won at Canterbury, 3rd in the $2 million Inglis Millennium, Silver and Suave, 2nd in the Ken Russell Memorial, bitten by Barry, won on debut at Newcastle. Duke Alzini beat Switzerland, first trial at Warwick Farm, and is now a winner and has raced in stakes grade. That's pretty amazing. 2-year-olds, these are 2-year-olds, not 3-year-olds, isn't it?
We have to pinch ourselves to think how it's all started off for him, and we didn't expect it to come so soon. The horses have really done everything that we've been asked of them, and Rag Queen to win on debut at Canterbury for David Payne was amazing. Big thrill for us, and big congratulations to him, because it was a job well done there. It's a testament to the versatility of the sire line. They really do have that turn of foot like he did, and they've shown it at a young age, which I think will stand in good stead when they get a bit older.
But you know that the best is yet to come, the 3-year-old, the classics, guineas, Oaks derbies, and all those incredible 1.25 mile middle distance races. Yep. They just seem absolutely primed for those this season.
It really opens up, and these sort of horses that have had that early experience and been looked after by the trainers, that some of the trainers have really done a great job with them. Daniel Sieb, David Payne, now in with Gerald and Sterling. They've really looked after them, and I think now it's just going to open up for them as they get over the distance and learn their trade and start to step them through the grades.
His sire, So You Think, we know he's probably one of the most popular racehorses and stallions around. But the last 2 years, he's been runner-up champion Australian sire. Yeah. And so that bodes so well for Dento as one of very few of his sons at stud.
So You Think kicked off with one winner in the first 2-year-old season. Dargento's had 4. So You Think's, I think he had maybe 6 winners on a day a few years ago in the top echelon of racing, and they've just stepped up and continue to as they go through to 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds. It's very exciting to see what happens.
And $16,500, so you've kept him at that. I mean, this region, it's such an easy region to get to. It's a really prime part of the New South Wales thoroughbred family, I guess. That fee is so generous for mare owners to be able to access a stallion like this.
It's a tough one with the service fee because you have to offer value. I'm very aware that a lot of expenses go into it for everyone, but with horses that can race on from 2, 3, 4 and hopefully opens up that big prize money that can come later on, hopefully there's some big value there for people.
And obviously the yearlings now, off the back of some of those early results, selling for up to $300,000. That's a great result in anyone's book.
Yeah, up to 8 times his service fee in that instance, and horses in book 2 making $200,000. It's a huge testament to the types he can throw and the strength, and then the early runners, which has all helped. But yeah, it's been a great start.
And we're on the cusp of a new racing season, so that's exciting for everyone involved. We've seen what they've done at 2, but this is the really exciting time, isn't it, as they're rising 3?
Absolutely, and we can't wait to see what he can do with these 3-year-olds and having the new 2-year-old crop coming through as well. There's been some good talk about the ones that have been broken in this season as well. So looking forward to it and really excited, yep.
I just love these sorts of horses, getting their early runners, and you know their classic season will be even better. And good luck to the Bowness team and Dento. Coming up after the break, trainer Peter Snowden with the greatest role models in his career in Arrowfield Stud's Industry Influences.
Got to say, late, my grandfather the trainer, my dad was a jockey, so the bug was there to be in racing. But the people probably which I learned the most from would be Vic Thompson when I came to Sydney, and John Hawkes. They were the 2 blokes that I really learnt the most of. Especially Vic, he was very influential. He was very pedantic in everything he'd done, and little things meant a lot to him, and which I think are the same. I got those same ordeals myself, and John was just the same. He was a really hard worker, and that I've always enjoyed work, but he takes it to the next level, and I try to match him. And those sort of guys, they were both very good trainers, and to try and emulate them and get that work ethic, and that's what I strive to do.
Yeah, and I know, for instance, in the middle of the day, you like the horses to have a rest, and you like to go and have a look at them, and all those things. I guess, people just absorb that. I'm sure your staff now that go on to be trainers in their own right are absorbing a lot of that from you too.
No, they say I'm mad. They say I spend too much time here, but I love what I do, and that's important, as you say, and that's especially babies. They tell you a lot, how they're handling work, whether they're lying down more than they should be. They're sort of struggling with the workload, but you can learn so much by just walking around your own and just looking at them, and you get a good rapport with them as well. They know you and you know them, so I find it very interesting.
And other than thinking you're mad, I'm sure the staff do learn a lot. I guess that, do you see your role as really, an influencer yourself on a lot of the people that are working here?
I hope so, because unfortunately that passion's starting to dwindle a bit now. There's not so many horse people coming to racing as there used to be, and I think it's a shame because it's a love job. It's not a 9-to-5 job like most jobs are. Our job's every day. But it's a passion you've got to have, and it's not, you can't give it to someone they've either got it in them to do it, or money won't make them work harder. It's just they've got to have that passion.
That's all for this week on Bred to Win. Join me again next week as we visit Yulong Farm in Victoria and bring you their new sire, the son of Lord Kanaloa, Panthalassa. That and much more next week. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.
Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of 4-time champion sire Schnitzel.